What's up, guys? Welcome back to Chris's MMA Universe. For this video here, I want to talk about Chael Sonnen, the American gangster from Portland, Oregon. I just wanted to do a quick kind of like tribute to Chael Sonnen. He ended up retiring from mixed martial arts, in general, and he's done with the sport. His last fight actually was this month. It was June 14th against Lyoto Machida. Things didn't really go his way. He ended up being stopped by TKO early in the second round. And, Chael Sonnen at first was a very entertaining guy. I mean, he was always entertaining, but, what I noticed about Chael Sonnen at first, was his ability to entertain the crowd and without even having to yell or curse. This guy was just super classy, super intelligent, and had everybody tuning in. The fight that put him on the map, I believe, that actually made him mainstream and a mainstream star was his fights going up against Anderson Silva. For both fights, this guy talked a ton of trash, but for the first fight, I believe was a lot more. Some people think that he went a little too far with what he spoke about going against Anderson Silva the second time, saying that he'll slap his wife on the ass and, to make his steak medium rare. And that heavily angered Anderson going into that fight. But to the point where they had to keep them separated at any face-offs or anything until the fight actually started. And, some people, like I said, think he went too far, but according to Chael Sonnen himself, at that point leading up to that fight with press conferences saying that, if you don't go too far, you'll never get far enough. And I believe that was a great quote by him, and, it kind of makes sense, just keep going as far as you can. But, being a fighter and an entertainer, it's a little different. You can say a lot of stuff and kind of go too far because you guys are going to be able to settle it with fists. You guys aren't going to settle it on a basketball court or football field or a soccer field, a baseball field, any of those sports. This is actually where you're going to put your arms up. You're going to put on some gloves, and with Chael Sonnen's words, you're going to be half naked, fighting in your underwear in front of millions of people. But Chael Sonnen at first, I didn't really like him at first. And the reason why, though, is because I'm a huge fan of Anderson Silva. He's one of my favorite fighters. And at first, I didn't like him too much, because, who do you really kind of go with when one of your favorite fighters is going up against somebody? Of course, you're just naturally not going to like the other guy, right? Because you're going to be biased, kind of. But, after all that, I got to see Chael Sonnen in a different light when he was fighting other fighters and stuff like that. And I don't know, I just think he's a great guy. He seems to be a great guy. And there's really nothing that how can you not love this guy? His YouTube channels are actually getting, it's very mainstream. He has a ton of subscribers on there, and he has a pretty big audience. And for me being actually one of the people to watch his channel, it's something great. And mainly he speaks about MMA on there. And, it's pretty good. He's a very intelligent guy. It's sad to see him go, but I have to say thank you to Chael Sonnen. Thank you very much for giving us a great career, showing us a great career, and, for him having a great career, just giving us the ability to actually, he has us in stitches with some of the things he says. He was just a fighter that would fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. And those are actually his words, and it was just great because he kept his word after saying those things. And for just being a fighter that just purely loved the competitive side of it, the entertainment side of it. And a lot of people compare him against Conor McGregor when it comes to talking trash. And some say McGregor's a little bit more. Some say Chael Sonnen's better. But honestly, I think they're two totally different trash talkers. Conor McGregor is just an enormous star and loved by many, hated by many as well. Some people don't like the arrogance and stuff like that. But, I do believe that Chael Sonnen, I believe, may have been a little bit of a better trash talker. The reason why is because he never had to yell, like I said before. He never had to curse, and he would just destroy you with his words without having to do so. But, and also, for those of you that don't know, Chael Sonnen promised his father when he was on his deathbed that he promised him that he would become a world champion. And unfortunately, Chael Sonnen has came up short for every title fight he's been in. And there was an interview at his post-fight press conference after his very last fight at Bellator 222 where a reporter, I'm not going to mention who it was because I don't know for sure who was the reporter. All you can hear is their voice. I believe it was Brett Okamoto, but I'm not 100% sure. And he asked him, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it was something along the lines of, if you had a chance to talk to your father right now on you were promising him to become a world champion, what can you say? And it was kind of hard to watch. It kind of brought a tear to your eye, if you get emotional about these kind of things. And Chael Sonnen just said, short and sweet, and he got a little choked up, and he said short and sweet, he would just tell him, I tried, and there's really nothing more to say. He would just tell him that he tried. And I just think, in a way, it was a little wrong to ask him that question. It was kind of like rubbing it in his face almost. And, the reporter kind of made him cry a little, like you made him choked up. I mean, I don't think there was really any reason to bring that up. I do respect the reporter's, courage to actually ask that question. I mean, I kind of understand it, but at the same time, you could have went without it, And, Chael Sonnen, not only just coming off of a great career in mixed martial arts, but he also was a fighter that fought in 3 separate weight classes. He was a middleweight in UFC. He also fought at a light heavyweight title fight against John Jones. He fought middleweight most of his career, at least in the first half of his career, at least in the UFC career. And, he fought a ton of fights there in middleweight. He fought Anderson Silva twice for the belt. Unfortunately, came up short. He fought John Jones at light heavyweight. Unfortunately, came up short. That was actually my one and only UFC I went to live, which was Chael Sonnen versus John Jones. And like I said, he came up short in that fight. He fought at a Bellator tournament for heavyweight, and he came up short with that one, losing to Fedor Emelianenko. And, the fight here that he had, losing to Lyoto Machida, I could tell it really hurt him because he said he had everything lined up after this one. He was going to call out Ryan Bader after beating Machida. If he did beat Machida, he felt like he could have beat Machida. He felt like he was going to, and he was going to call out Ryan Bader and, try to fight him for another chance at a world title. And, you know, it's sad to see somebody with a great personality that he has and such a great entertainer, such a great fighter, such a great competitor come up short to never be able to win a world title. You know, I wish he would have. You know, he was something special, and I don't believe the sport will be the same today if he wasn't a competitor. If he wasn't, you know, if he didn't take the route or the road to become a fighter, I really don't believe the sport would be the same. You know, I believe he left a huge footprint, and he was just something special to watch. I mean, it's just him talking alone in press conferences, you know, leading up to fights was sometimes better than the fights themselves, right? And, you know, and I don't mean just his fights. I mean just better than some of the fights, period, of a lot of fighters out there. But Chael Sonnen, I just want to say thank you very much for giving us a fantastic, I mean, unbelievable career. For Luke Thomas to say that you were a good fighter but not a great fighter, you could just tell that Luke Thomas did not know what he was talking about when he mentioned that. I mean, I can see now why John Jones does not like Luke Thomas. And I just think that was very wrong. Luke Thomas, I'm sorry, but you don't know what you were talking about there. You know, Chael Sonnen was more than just a great fighter. He was phenomenal. And I wish Chael Sonnen would have won a world title. He didn't, but he was one of the greatest fighters from a competitive, you know, era that ended up turning into an entertainment era, and he would still fight anybody, anywhere, at any time. I know Chael Sonnen cheated in the past, and it was something he owned up to, where he was on PEDs, but it is what it is. You know, PEDs or no PEDs, I still believe Chael Sonnen was one of the greatest fighters to ever step into any combat sport organization, any MMA organization, and it's going to be sad to see him go. It's going to be sad to never see him again compete, but honestly, I don't think he owes us anything. I know he didn't win a world title, but honestly, I think he won a lot of our hearts, which I believe is, in some cases, a lot better. Chael Sonnen, congratulations for a great career. Thank you for showing us so much things and so many things that we've never seen before in any other fighter. And I just want to say good luck with everything that you do after this. And just thank you. That's all. And if you guys enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.